On this significant piece of news, joining us now on the phone line is one of Bangalore's top business leaders, Biocon's Chairman and Managing Director, Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw. It's good to have you with us this afternoon, Kiran. Do tell us now, how are you viewing this piece of news, considering that Infosys has been a laggard when it comes to the IT space? And this is significant, considering that Mr. Murthy is going to be back in the driver's seat.
Well, I'll just pick up on that last comment that you just played of Mr. Kamath, who said that, you know, the tide lifts all, but then you've got to have your own individual strategy to sail faster than others. And I think the IT business and Infosys business in particular is a very complex, intricate business. And I do believe that, you know, Mr. Murthy knows that business best. And I think when times are tough, when the tide is not favoring you, I think it's very important to, you know, have the wisdom and the experience and expertise of its founder, who is Mr. Narayan Murthy. And I think he can basically now, you know, drive the new strategy and take Insulin back on the right path.
Do you think, Kiran, that the times have really changed, and in this space where we're seeing peers of Infosys do so well for themselves, in these times, newer strategies requires fresh blood, perhaps?
Well, I personally believe that Mr. Murthy is someone who really understands the sector. He understands strategy very well. And, you know, in all fairness, I think we must also give him reasonable time to course correct and, you know, to deliver on that, because I think rebooting Infosys on a new strategy path is not going to be quick. And, you know, I think expectations must be reasonable. You can't expect him to wave a magic wand. But having said that, it's not about new blood. It's about understanding the business. It's about making sure that you deliver on a well-thought-out strategy. I think Mr. Murthy has always been a leader of strategy. And I think he has basically distanced himself from that strategy as a non-executive chairman. And I think this is the time when he realizes and recognizes that it's important for him to now roll up his sleeves and actually be a part of delivering on that strategy. So I don't really agree with your, you know, remarks or comments that it is fresh blood that will drive strategy or new strategies for Infosys. This is really about delivering on a very well thought out strategy, and obviously they're not delivering on it well. And I think Mr. Murthy feels that he needs to now, you know, come back and see how they can deliver on that strategy.
Since you're talking about strategy, Kiran, perhaps you can offer a point of view on this as well. What do you think went wrong for Infosys along the way, considering it was the leader, it set off things in the IT space in the country? What went wrong?
Well, I think that I'm sure there are a set of factors that have led to this, you know, this decline. I think I, for one, believe that, you know, leadership is about inspirational leadership. And I think, you know, Mr. Murthy actually commandeered inspirational leadership in Infosys. And I think it was difficult for others who were given that baton not to be able to provide that inspirational leadership. So that was one factor. The second factor is perhaps, you know, the organizational structure that they had created, where they were trying to create leadership roles for a large number of people, hasn't quite delivered on that very focused, you know, strategic mission and vision that Mr. Narayan Murthy had for the organization. So I think they need to course correct as well on that as aspect of the organizational leadership. And finally, I think it clearly shows that although Mr. Kamath is a very, very capable and outstanding leader, I think domain knowledge is extremely important in a very complex, you know, industry like Infosys. And Mr. Kamath has been very gracious to recognize that by inviting Mr. Narayan Murthy back to play that role.
True, but Kiran, now these tough times calling for tough measures seems to be really working as far as Infosys is concerned. In terms of the scenario, do you think now, looking at the future, Infosys' turnaround is going to be of course it's going to be fraught with obstacles, but how much easier is it going to be with the change in management in your perspective?
I think it's about confidence in leadership. It's about confidence in a person's ability to deliver on strategic goals and vision. And I have full confidence that Mr. Narayan Murthy is the man. I mean, right now, in all fairness, Mr. Narayan Murthy was enjoying retirement. He was doing something which was very different from what he was doing at Infosys. But he was emotionally, obviously, connected with his company, which he was, responsible in creating and founding. And I think, when asked to basically come back and help the company get back onto its original growth path, is something which must have been a very difficult decision for Mr. Murthy to take, but he has. And knowing Mr. Murthy, he is going to give everything he has to make sure that Infosys gets back to its original glory.
True, but many would argue that management change is only one part of the strategy. In terms of being able to drive growth, a lot depends on the kind of employees you're able to draw, and perhaps in terms of being able to cater to the needs of clients which are constantly evolving. So in that sense, where the others, the peers of Infosys have scored, do you think Infosys has got that going at least for itself, and it's just the kind of leadership that Mr. Murthy will bring to the table that's going to be able to drive it now?
Look, when you talk about talent pool, there is one large common talent pool that every IT company is drawing from. Okay, let's accept that. And drawing that talent pool and making sure that you get the best out of that talent pool and retaining that talent pool is about inspirational leadership. I think Mr. Murthy is by far the most inspirational leader that we have in this country. Let's accept that. So hopefully this will certainly drive employee confidence, and I am sure Infosys has always managed to attract very good talent. That I'm sure is not something that anyone can deny, and except it's about flawless execution and delivery, and maybe that's where they've been a bit complacent.
Right, and in terms of aggression in these trying times, because all across the board we've seen pain come in, but not to the extent that it has affected Infosys. So in terms of the scenario, as it were, do you think it has been particularly trying for some companies than others?
Well, I think, it is a very challenging environment, no doubt. I mean, globally, I think the environment is very challenging, but then it's about companies who have learned to be agile and differentiated in terms of their offering. And I think that's where companies have either surged ahead or lagged behind. And I think this is where I think Infosys needs to focus its attention on how does it, now pursue the future with aggression and with confidence and with success.
Well, that's the space that we'll be watching. Do stay with us, Kiran. Also joining us right now is Sudhir Napte of Offshore Insights.